Hi everyone, welcome to your assessment task for this unit of work. I'm really excited for you guys to attempt this challenge. It's going to be really exciting. I think it's a good piece of assessment. I think you'll have a lot of fun doing it. So you can see up the top here in this section, I've called this piece of work Upper Primary Shelter Assessment Task. So this is your design brief. I'm going to walk you through it to make sure everyone understands what the task is about and what you would need to do. So introduction here. So this is basically introducing us to the context of our problem. At the start of the school year, school enrollments are going to double. The current equipment and shelter in the playground needs to be updated to ensure there is space for everyone, but the size of the playground cannot be increased. So that one's really important. Grade 6 has been asked to use your new design and technology knowledge to design and present ideas for a product that can act as shelter and play equipment. You will have 1 week in class time to create and present your design to the SRC. Do you have what it takes? Well, I would say you do have what it takes. So we've been focusing on design and digital technology systems. So we've been focusing on housing. And during this task, you're going to have to use what you've learned about housing. So we know that when population sizes increase, that it places a strain on housing systems. We know that houses have to respond to accommodate for more people in less space a lot of the time. So this is essentially what the sum is about. We've looked at how some people build structures vertically or into the ground or even around the landscape. So sometimes if you're on a geological feature such as a mountain, you might be building into the mountain. So that's what you're going to have to tackle during this assessment task. So you're going to have to figure out how you're going to approach this. We can't increase the width of the playground, but it needs to accommodate more people. So looking at our brief, the design challenge will be completed in teams of 5, and you will have to create a product that doubles as a piece of play equipment and shelter. So that's really what the assignment is about. So you're going to have to create we're going to have to create a product in Google SketchUp that doubles as play equipment and shelter. We want to make sure that everyone's safe and warm during winter. We want to make sure that people have space to run around and play. In teams, you will research how design systems accommodate for growing populations. So we've already done this, but you're going to have to revisit what you've learned and maybe even look at some different structures to give you some new ideas. And you'll create a design for your product using Google SketchUp and record a screen capture of a digital walkthrough of your design. So I've attached an example of how that would be approached, and that will be underneath this section. So I've given you an example of what it might look like and how you might go about it. You'll also create a 3D printed model of your design to use during your pitch. So that will give people a better idea about the cosmetics of your design and also what it will look like overall. During your pitch, you would need to explain the design features of your product. So explain what components you've used, and also what kind of features of design enable it to achieve the design brief. The proposed cost, instructions for use, and explain how you met the criteria of the brief. Specification, your design needs to meet the following. It needs to include a digital walkthrough of your design in Google SketchUp that explains your design features, instructions for use, proposed cost, and estimated size. It needs to include a photograph of a 3D printed model of your design product. Needs to be completed within 1 week of class time and be appropriately safe, functional. Also, this section here will need to include sustainable materials. So you'll have to research and use your knowledge about sustainable materials. We want the design to be low impact on the environment. You'll also need to respond to the needs of the brief here. So in your groups of 5, you will need to assign the roles of team manager, researcher, builder, digital editor, and finance manager. Excuse me. You all play a role in the final pitch or presentation of your design, however. So when you're presenting this to the SRC, you all have a part to present. Your pitch will explain how your design features meet the needs of the brief and include a self-assessment of your product. So at the end of your presentation, you'll need to assess yourselves about how you think you work as a team, what you think worked well, what you think could be improved on for next time. Your assessment. You'll be assessed on how well you meet the requirements of the brief. Again, I've said this a few times, but really it's important that whenever you're designing this product, you're looking at the brief, you're thinking about what's the purpose of this brief and what specifications do I need to include in my design. So it's really important that we know how to follow a brief. That's going to be one of the major things you're assessed on in our rubric, which I'll show you in a second. Explain how the features, design, and components of your product accommodate for more people. So really, I'm looking for a detailed explanation about how this is going to allow for more students in the space. You're going to be assessed on how you research and work collaboratively as a team. And you're going to also be assessed on your final pitch to the SRC. In your checklist, your design meets all the considerations of the design brief. You've included a digital walkthrough, a 3D printed model, and have provided pictures of your design process. Each member of the group has contributed to each aspect of the design. So it's really important that you're all playing an equal role. That's something I'll be looking for as you work on this task. And you have completed every component of the design brief. So that's basically your design brief. I've noticed a few typos, but that's okay. When I upload the image file for this design brief, I'll make sure that those are corrected. So we'll go over now to the rubric. So this is what you're going to be assessed on. So we've got our criteria. The 4 criteria you'll be assessed on is students understand how and why design and technologies respond to contemporary needs. So again, that's about how you respond to increasing population sizes and the student body. Students can effectively evaluate the effectiveness of design systems and products. So again, that's about analyzing design features and also basically evaluating overall design, how effective it is, how the components of design and design features contribute to the success of the design. Your collaboration, teamwork, and presentation skills. And your last one, again, I've highlighted this a few times. Students can follow a design brief and develop designs that appropriately respond to the provided criteria. So at a C standard, for this first criteria, students understand how and why design and technologies respond to contemporary needs. So if you're looking for a C, you will need to demonstrate adequate knowledge about how design is responsive, and you'll have to provide an or several examples. A C level for the next criteria, students can effectively evaluate the effectiveness of design systems and products. So a C standard for this demonstrates adequate ability to analyze systems by using provided criteria. So for this, a C standard, you'll have to use the criteria of the brief just to assess your product. At a higher level, a level A, you'll be looking at developing your own criteria as well. So if you're looking for a high mark in this section, you actually need to develop your own criteria to also assess the design product. The C standard for teamwork and presentation skills demonstrates adequate collaboration and presentation skills. And I'm going to add here that you've also equally contributed to all parts of the assignment. And our last section, students can follow a design brief and develop designs that appropriately respond to provided criteria. So again, this one is just following the brief, making sure that you've included all the specifications, that the design you've actually made actually targets the problem or the thing we need to address in the design brief. The C standard for this is demonstrates adequate capacities to use criteria and technology to develop appropriate and responsive designs. So again, making sure that it's in Google SketchUp, making sure you've included a screen capture, a 3D model, and that your design responds to the design brief.